We have Jason. Is it McFeeters?
Yeah.
It certainly is. I met him before the class. And he has a personality as big as his name. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. In fact, you won't mind if I look over your shoulder there.
The more the merrier. This is a Fairling etude from the 48 Famous Studies, and it's dedicated to tabito, so for oboe or saxophone.
Wonderful. Are you playing number 16 or
17.
18? Okay. You made it. Bravo. Well, that's... Bravo. This is really like a little showpiece, isn't it? It has so much, you know, the cadenza and everything else. And I think it's right that you're playing with a certain amount of freedom. However, it's important to still keep the, how shall I say it, the rhythmical relationships between the notes somewhat discernible to the listener. And you're doing that for the most part. It's just a couple of times where you did take a little, like for instance here, you played this as a quarter note. Oh, there it is. Well, there's the little rest. You did it properly. But where was it? Where were these 3/8 notes pickups? These here, after your little breath here. That even though you're going to take a breath, it has to have a logical slowing down before you take the breath. I'm just going to treat this as though it has no accompaniment, you know, and it probably doesn't have an accompaniment, but many of these etudes could be interpreted to have an underlying harmony and accompaniment. But this really seems like almost like a fantasia or something like that. It's more free. So it's all right to have this certain freedom as long as you contrast it with a framework that's discernible from time to time. Because the freedom without some kind of framework just becomes anarchy after a while. So try to, I don't know where we can just show the difference between the freedom that you're playing. Let's just hear the cadenza, for instance, just those 2 bars. And then continue afterwards as though there's a, string accompaniment of a boom, like 16th notes underneath you for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. So that there's a regular pulse here, and that this has no regular pulse, that this is totally free. I just want to get so you understand, or that the class understands your inner subdivisions.
Sure.
Okay? So total freedom, and then total control.
All right.
Yeah, you see your sextuplets there are a little bit rushed. Dee da 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 dum, dee da 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 dum. Right? And that's what I mean by the total control. Instead of dee no 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 dum, dee no 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 no. Sometimes we fall into a certain habit as wind players of playing articulated notes where they feel comfortable to our tongue, rather than accommodating the tongue to the beat, the speed of the beat. You know what I'm talking about? There are times when you say, well, this is the way my tongue feels better, so a dee da 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 dum, dee da 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 dum, and instead of dee da 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 dum, dee da 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 dum. And it's much harder to learn that control. I remember a Masterclass I went to in Aspen in 1982, conducted by a fairly well-known cellist. Her name was Zara Nelsova, and she had a big international career. And I can't remember if her natural born name was Sarah Nelson, but she used the stage name of Zara Nelsova, and I think it came from maybe her parents or her mother's maiden name or the original family name. At any rate, she was a very fine musician, and she was rather elderly at the time. And one thing she said to me that was so meaningful at that period, I was 19 years old, she said that when you practice your scales, you must practice them at the most uncontrollable tempo. And she was talking, of course, in terms of string playing, about the bouncing of the bow. If you're doing an up bow staccato, practice it at the most uncontrollable tempo so that you gain control. If you can gain control of that, then you have control over the rest of it. So there's an area in our tonguing, the slower tonguing is fairly controllable. And then we have a sort of a gap where it's more difficult to control. And then sometimes you can jump up to a much higher metronome marking and go, and that becomes your way of playing. You either play really fast or sort of slow, or you do lots of rubato in there to sort of camouflage this area where you don't have control. I'm not saying you don't have control of it, but to use it to just talk about generally, this is a wind problem of getting control of the tongue. That's my most difficult. It's very difficult. And a little slower. And then it becomes easy. But there's a certain range. It's not the fastest, which is the most difficult to control. And this may be where those sextuplets are falling within your particular. I think it's a fairly natural human phenomenon. I've run across it for 25 years with students, that they can do the slower tonguing, they can do faster tonguing, but that middle range needs a little work. So maybe it might be an area where you need to concentrate. Now, as far as your cadenza is concerned, even when you have total freedom, there should be some sort of plan. And what I'm sensing is that you're just sort of deciding to hold for a certain amount of time, and then you wiggle. And you get to the bottom there, and you wait, and then you start slowly, and then you wiggle faster. And maybe we could make a little more, something more interesting here if we look at the content of what's been written. First of all, you're holding on a high C. Then you're going up to a high D with 2/16 pickups. Dee, da, da, dee. So the audience is set for you to go up. Maybe they think you're going to go up another octave. But then you fall down. La, da, dee, 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 dee. So the most important note is the turnaround note, which is not your high D. It's the C afterwards. Dee, la, da, dee, 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 whatever it is. I would emphasize that second 16th ever so slightly, as though it had one of these, what I called a portato inflection that she had in the trumpet concerto. There, again, I'll mention Maria Callas and her wonderful recordings, where she has these melismas in Bellini and Donizetti, little cadenzas that go up like this, and she'll have a long note that's with the fermata, and then she starts her chromatic, scale going down, and she'll go, and it's so much more effective than just there's something important about that first note, because when she's holding the first changing note, when she holds the long note, nobody knows if she's going to go up or down or stop. But this first note, it almost gives you a little electric shock, when you hear that. So that's second 16th note. And to make this
The third, this one here, the C after
this
the
C, yeah. So this is a note grouping, la da dee, and then you begin a new note grouping, la dee 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 dee, going down, la dee da da. So you're just showing note grouping basically by giving a little bit of an emphasis on that second 16th. I know it's out of the ordinary for me to ask you to, as I would call it again, agogically accent a note that's otherwise on a weak part of the beat. But here, I think it will have meaning. La da dee 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 dee, right? And that's all from here. Just a little bit of on the C, little abdominal push. And I think that the 16th should be noticeably slower than when he starts to give you 30 seconds. Now, it says cadenza, but I think you can start this melisma a little slower with that emphasis that I'm talking to you about. Then go from there. So you don't have to start really quickly. Otherwise, it's all the same. And we have a very interesting change here where there's an interval. Otherwise, it's all scale-wise. I might wish I have to have my glasses here. I'm that age now. See, there's an interval. I would play up that idea of the interval, and then fall down during the scale. So there's a slight slowing down right in here. So now you've got two things to do. You show this change of direction, you speed up a little bit, and then you slow down, showing the interval, da da ha da dee, like a violinist would, go up to a harmonica, dee da ha da dee, be a little bit of hyphens there. And I wouldn't necessarily hit this low C and just honk it out, if you know what I mean. I would maybe la da dee da 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 dee, more insinuating. In other words, you're not just blasting out to the audience, but that you're you're letting them feel, okay, you've reached some point of repose within this cadenza, and then your build-up will mean something. Don't play that low C so loudly, because otherwise you spoil the high note that's coming later. All right?
Yeah.
And you know what to do here. Da da dee da da. And then I would. Do you have a pencil? No, but well, anyway, think of the groupings. La da ti da da, ti da da dee da da, ti da 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 da, dee da da da. I'm probably singing all the wrong pitches, but at any. And then you've got a chromatic passing tone. This D flat is very important. You can't just think of the D as being the end-all, but that chromatic passing tone right afterwards is tremendously important, leading you to the C. All right?
Amen.
And then the E is just a pickup to here. So I wouldn't make all that a pickup. Dee da 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 dee da, but I go dee dee da dee, so that it's just really a feeling of one pickup. Because this D, really you can think of it as an appoggiatura that's leading you to resolve on the C. Dee dee la dee da. So emphasize the D, that chromatic passing tone, which is surprising. You know, if the D indeed is an appoggiatura harmonically, let's just for argument's sake say it is, because each time you've gone up here, you're outlining a different chord. You're going E, G, B flat, E, G, B flat, D, which then resolves on a C.
Setting us up as cadence in F.
Yes. So if this D is a dissonance, this one with the fermata, it's always surprising to the human ear to hear a dissonant note followed by one that's even more dissonant. You expect resolution after that. Dee, dee. All right? So there's something very special about chromatic passing tones to the ear. Now, a lot of talking about this. Let's break it up. And we're not going to have time for the baritone. Is that all right? I'm sorry.
You can play the cadenza.
Let's. We got about 2 minutes, and then we'll be done. But let's just break up the cadenza. Yeah, come over and play the. We'll work on the Mozart bassoon concerto for the baritone later. How about just give me ti-da-da as one group?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Let's
Let's
play
just
those
and then I'll dictate each group to you. You'll see it. Okay. So you see, you're going someplace. The C is not the be-all and end-all.
It's
So,
deceiving by the fermata.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big note. It's printed in big notes, and then the cadenza is written in little teensy-weensy notes. They have just as much sound. So the D, now, let's go down with the C. La da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da.
Okay.
I'll
Up
just
to
stop
the
there.
F.
Maybe we'll stop. Let's, yeah, stop on the F. So start on the C. Well, stop there. Now start the next group. And now start dee da da da. Yeah, so you reach a point of repose. Now la da dee da da. No, just la da dee da da. Stop. And dee da da da. And then gentle. All right, the purpose for breaking this up is so that then when you put it back together in your mind, you'll keep your place. My teacher was very good about this. He really had me break up phrases into groups of notes, and then when you put it all together, you would be saying words instead of note names or letters. You know, it's different if I say H-E-L-L-O, H-O-W-A-R-E-Y-U-T-D-A-Y. You know.
F-I-N-E.
G-O-D. Okay? So, you know, that's not really the best way to communicate. So we make words out of it. And so what I'm trying to get you to do is just put notes together, separate letters, in other words, to make words. So now let's do this again. Just break it up once more, then we'll put it together. And that'll be it.
Okay.
But then then the C has a special emphasis. Ha dee da. Dee da da dee. Ha dee dee dee. Just, yeah. And then. Stop. And then. That's it. Now, you think you can put it all together?
Oh, yeah.
I'll just ask you to do one little thing. Play this note softly. That
B flat. Okay.
that harmonic note on the violin that I was talking about.
Okay.
Try to play that softly, lightly. Beautiful. Bravo. And thank you all very much for coming to this class today. I appreciate it. Take that.